Hi guys! Welcome to Storytime Society, or welcome back to the Storytime Society. I'm your host Jamie and I'm so happy to have you here. I'm so happy that you're alive. Hi, can't wait to get into this episode, but before we do, I'm going to ask very nicely and politely if you will like, comment, subscribe, anything of that sort. Maybe share with a friend or family if you think that they would like these type of videos. Also, what are we drinking while we're chatting today? I have my Poppy. This is one of their new flavors. I think they have like 3 flavors out right now, but I've only tried 2 of them. My cat loves to like scratch on the side of the litter box when I start to film. She has no what is it called? Like respect. She doesn't care. She's just going to do what she wants to do, and she says, "Fuck you, Mom. Bye." Okay, she's gone. But anyways, so I think they have 3 new flavors out, and I think one of them is like a cherry pop, cherry cola. This is the wild berry flavor, which I'm not gonna lie, the color, I've always been like a blue raspberry girl. That's my favorite flavor of everything. Blue raspberry, Jolly Rancher, whatever is blue, like anything blue raspberry, that's my favorite flavor. And this is wild berry, and it's really good. They also have an orange cream, which I was drinking in another episode, and that one is probably my favorite of all time poppies, like in the entire world. Orange cream is, ooh, for me, like anything that tastes like orange cream is chef's kiss. This is also really good. I would say this is their second best flavor. I'm not lying. This is probably their second best flavor, but it also just, obviously it's like subjective because it just depends on what flavors you like the best, because some people prefer like a cherry flavor over a berry flavor. So it really just depends. But let me know what you're drinking in the comments. I always love to see what you guys are sipping on. And let me just take a sip of this before I get into the rest of the stuff. Okay, we're also on Spotify if you guys ever want to take a listen on Spotify, or if you want to just follow me on Spotify in case in the future you want to listen on Spotify. The link is below. We also have a subreddit, which is also below if you want to join that and share stories on it, cross-post stories on it, whatever your heart desires. Oh my god, I wanted to tell you guys this story because I was scared out of my mind the other night, 2 nights ago. I don't like how my chest is like showing so much because my chest does not match my face and it's giving me like the heebie-jeebies. But anyways, so 2 nights ago, me and my boyfriend were sitting on the couch, okay? It's probably 8:30 p.m. It's dark out. We have this keypad lock. It's Dwello. I don't know. If you live in an apartment, you might know what it is, but it's basically just a keypad, and it's an app on your phone where you can change the temperature of your house. You can connect lights to it, so you can turn off lights. Like we just have our kitchen light connected to it, and then on the front door, there's a keypad with like a little touchscreen thing, and you put the lock code in. You can lock it, and then you can unlock it from that. And oh my god, it beeps when you press the buttons, okay? So all of a sudden we hear this beep, which you have to like put your hand over it to get the screen to come up with the numbers on it. And then when you do that, it makes a beep noise. So we hear that beep noise and we're like, what was that? All of a sudden, it sounds like someone's putting a password into our keypad. And then it stops, and then it goes a long beep, like they got the password wrong, and then they keep pressing the buttons, and it keeps making beep noise, and then we get up, and we're like, what the fuck? We're both so scared out of our minds. We're walking, we're like on the second floor, so we have stairs to get to our front door, and we have like just a little place where we put all our shoes in like foyer, I don't know, but it's barely even anything. And so we're like at the top of the stairs. My boyfriend's yelling, hey, stop, like as if, oh my god, like what is that gonna do? If a killer wants to come in, they're gonna be getting in whether you're saying hey or not. I was like, are you trying to scare like a bear away or something? Like, hey bear, because that's not gonna work. But I almost grabbed a knife and went down there because I was so scared. But we were standing at the top of the stairs, and he's screaming, and I'm like, what is that? And I'm like, call 911 maybe. I really was about to call 911 if they kept trying to put this password in. So we're slowly going down the stairs. You know when you're just like so scared and you're just like, we're like freezing in our, like, I don't know, we just like froze because we were so scared. And it wasn't like we were meaning to do that, but we just could not move forward. And we were so scared. And then we slowly got down because we wanted to look through the peephole because we don't have like we don't have like a Ring camera or anything, but now that happened, I want to get a Ring camera because I'm fucking so scared. So we go down, I'm honestly thinking like I'm on the third stair and I'm like, they could shoot through this door and then I'd be dead. Like that's the last you would see of me, which is crazy to think because you could literally just shoot someone through their door and then run away. And then what? Well, there's like Ring cameras now, so I feel like they would probably get it on camera, like someone, like my neighbor or something. But then I got down and I was like, okay, and then I looked through the peephole and no one's there. But the beeping hasn't really happened since we were like halfway down the stairs. So I'm thinking someone was trying to get in, but they ran away by the time we got down there. Our scared little selves got down to the peephole to look and see if anyone was there. So then I've been so on edge for the past 2 days because I've just been like, every noise I hear, I'm like shitting my pants. I'm like, oh my God, what is that? Oh my God, who's trying to break in? And that night I was like, we were laying in bed and I was like, I'm calling security and I'm asking them if they could like patrol the house or something because I can't fall asleep like this. I already haven't been sleeping that well lately. So like having that on my mind, and also the Brian Koberger. If you guys know Brian Koberger I feel like everyone knows this, but the Idaho 4 murders, when that happened, I think it was like 2 years ago now, almost, or maybe it's been 2 years now. I lived by myself. Well, I didn't live by myself. We lived in like a 3-story condo and I had 3 roommates, but it felt like I lived by myself when I was in my room in the dark. So I would lock my bedroom door every night for like months because I would wake up in the middle of the night and my first thought would be, oh my God, Brian Kober is here to get me. Like, not right now, just even talking about it, guys, I'm getting scared. I'm like actually getting scared. But yeah, so I would literally lock my door to my bedroom every night, even though I was on the 3rd floor and the doors were locked downstairs, but you never know how people can get in. So yeah, that's my story. I was so scared, and the past 2 nights I haven't really been sleeping that well, and as soon as that happened, I got on my computer and I ordered I talked to you guys about it before, like right when I moved into this place, because I don't really like that the property managers can have access whenever they want, especially because you never really know who's working at, like, I don't know these people. I don't know what kind of background checks they go through. I don't know if these maintenance guys are like good, normal people, or if they could literally just get access to my apartment, because I know that they could, and come in when I'm in here or something, or when I'm taking a nap or something, and then like do something weird to me. So I was already scared about that. And even if we didn't have that keypad on there, like, it's still scary because they can still have like a master key to come in. And I don't like that, especially when I'm here. Like, I mean, when I'm gone, I don't want anyone coming in my apartment either. But especially when I'm here, I especially don't want you coming into my apartment because what are you going to do to me? Like, please. And I'm always like so paranoid. I overthink about everything, and especially like getting murdered and stuff. But so I ordered one of those things that you put in. I think it's like a portable lock thing that you can like bring to hotels and stuff, that it goes into the latch, and so it stops people from getting in even if they had a key. And it is pouring rain outside. It's been pouring all day, but I'm going to feel a lot more safe once I put that in, and I'm going to have that in like all day and all night. Unless I leave, then I'll take it out. But other than that, I'm literally going to have it in all the time. Because I'm sick of being on edge, and even before that like little scenario happened, I still would get scared sometimes because I don't know, I just get scared about stuff. But it's pouring right now because obviously there's supposed to be a hurricane. I'm on the East Coast, so I'm not really having to worry about it. Otherwise, what am I saying? Otherwise? No, not otherwise. Although it can still turn and get to the East Coast like so quick, and that is like usually what happens. I feel like it never goes on the trail that they actually say it's going on. But it's supposed to hit like the West Coast Tampa area, I think, and go up to like Alabama or something. But I'm on the East Coast, so I don't really have to worry about it. But we're definitely having a lot more storms than regular right now. It's been raining basically all day, and like heavy rains. And this week it's been raining a lot, so. But I kind of like it. I haven't really been like going outside that much, to be honest, which I really need to because I love going to the beach. But the number one reason that I try to convince myself that this isn't the reason that I don't go to the beach, because I'm always thinking like, you need to go to the beach. Like, go to the beach. You love the beach. You love like getting the sunlight, swimming in the ocean, like getting a little bit of tan. But the number one reason is because I am at my heaviest weight right now, which I've probably told you guys, and I'm not saying that I'm like super heavy and stuff, but I'm at my heaviest that I've ever been, and that really stresses me out. So whenever I feel like I want to go to the beach, I'm like, I can't get into a swimsuit right now though, because then everyone's gonna see me in my swimsuit looking like this. So it's not funny, but it is funny because that's just my brain and that's just the way that I think. So yeah. But I'm going to take one more sip of my poppy and then we can get into the story time for today. Okay, ready? We have 3 stories for this episode. I'm filming a double episode today because I have some stuff I want to do for the next few days, so I don't want to have to film because oh my god, what is happening? Don't even tell me that you're doing this right now. This is like, I feel like my internet is going out or something. Oh my god, did someone just hit? My cats are freaking out. What was I saying, guys? Oh, because I have some stuff I want to do over the next few days. And so I'm going to film 2 today so that I don't have to film and I don't want to miss an episode. So I'm double filming today. But I already have each episode planned out because I just wanted to make sure that, you know, I'm on top of everything. Okay, so I'm not really sure if this is going to be a long episode. I think the second episode might be longer because I have 4 stories for that one, which I don't really know why I have 4 stories for that one and only 3 for this one, but my boobs keep folding and it's really bothering me. You guys know I hate when my boobs fold because I don't like wearing bras when I'm just like working at home, so I always just don't wear one, but then I get annoyed when my boobs fold and like start sweating. So the title of the first story is, my husband's 4-year-old daughter from previous marriage died and I feel like my own marriage is over. My husband is an airline pilot. He was married before and had a 4-year-old daughter. They divorced right after she was born. We met shortly after and it was like in a movie. I was a passenger on his flight and that flight was delayed and he was there with the crew and we spoke for almost an hour. Exchanged social media and the very same evening we hooked up. But even though it usually doesn't work, we stayed together and very soon we got married. So it started like a fairy tale, but it turned into a nightmare. I knew about his daughter. I saw her a couple of times. She died unexpectedly 10 months ago. He has changed so much. He became almost skinny and developed a huge problem with drinking. Because of this, he also lost his job. He was a captain, but he doesn't even seem to care. I love him so much and I want to help him. I cook what he likes to eat, but he just doesn't. He snaps at me and then apologizes. He cries a lot when he's alone, and we still have sex sometimes if he initiates, but it's so meaningless and empty. It's happened only about 6 times in the past 10 months. I understand and I don't blame him. I want to help, but I have no idea how. I feel like I'm way too young for this. I'm only 24 and we have a significant age gap. He's 40, but we get along so well. Aviation was his biggest passion, and I tried to motivate him with that, but he just doesn't care. He drinks so much, and I cry so much, and then I feel guilty because I understand that he lived through a huge tragedy. He blames himself for not being a part of his daughter's life, as he always was away. How do I help? I suggested therapy, but he yelled at me to leave him alone, and then he felt sorry and apologized. I'm in a dark place, but for him, it's much worse. How do I make him feel better, and how do I make him stop drinking? I'm afraid he'll start using other substances too. That's so sad, but I feel like it's so hard because you just kind of have to let him go through it. And, you know, sometimes people don't even really end up on the other side. My best friend in high school, we were we were friends through middle school, but not as close. But then in high school, we got so close. Like, we were like always together. We were just, I loved her so much. We were best friends, did everything together. Like, I also had this friend group that was separate to like her. Like, she wasn't really friends with them, but whenever I would hang out with them, if she wasn't invited, because you know how like in high school, I don't know, you're like, oh, we just want to spend time with you, not like both of you, we just want to spend time with you, because obviously we weren't like, she wasn't friends with them and I was. But I loved her so much, and we were such best friends that if she wasn't able to go, I literally would text my group of friends and I'd be like, no, like, if Mandy can't go, I'm not going because I want her there. Like, she's literally my best friend. She was my favorite person of all time. And we stayed friends throughout freshman, and so I moved away obviously to Florida, and then she went to school around where we went to high school, like an hour away. And I so we were obviously like long distance friends for a while, and we would visit each other. And then after sophomore year, we kind of fell off of being friends. We didn't really keep in touch anymore. It's not like anything happened, but it was like we kind of grew apart because she really liked to have boyfriends. Like, she always was in a long-term relationship. And so at this point, she was in a long-term relationship. I would visit her, and like, I was friends with her boyfriend at the time too. I mean, I met him obviously through her, but then I think it was like it was like July 4th. I was home for the summer, and we didn't really get to see each other that much because she was hanging out with her boyfriend a lot and working a lot. And then I wanted her to come out with me and my friend on the 4th of July, but she like was with her boyfriend, and so she's like, "Oh, well, like, we can pick you guys up and drop you guys off at a bar if you want like a ride." Obviously, that's not what I wanted, but I was like, "Okay," cuz I wanted to see her. So, that was the last time that we saw each other. And it wasn't nothing happened, but I definitely was a little salty because I was like, you know, when you're just like, you want to spend time with your friend and it's like you feel like they're choosing their boyfriend over you, which obviously as you get older that like changes because I live with my boyfriend. So like, I'm obviously going to be with my boyfriend a lot. But yeah, so nothing happened, but we kind of just slowly fell off. Like, we might have gotten into a little bit of a fight about that. Like, I was just saying how that I was upset about that, but nothing crazy happened. But anyways, that's like the longest story for no reason. But the premise and the point of that story was that she passed away when we had just graduated college, and she passed away in a very tragic car accident. And her parents obviously were very, very upset. And my mom is best friends with her mom, but her dad just like has not gotten over it. And he will post a lot on Facebook, like very, very like sad, depressing, very negative things. Like, he doesn't see why this happened. Like, there's nothing, I don't know. I can't even remember really the premise of what he was saying, but just very depressing things, you know, not trying to look at it in a positive light, which I'm not saying there's any positive light about it, but even like just recently in the past couple of years, because that was what, 5 years ago now? Almost 6 years ago? Or was it like, I think so. Oh my gosh. It might have been like 5 years ago. That's crazy. But yeah, so he is very much, I feel like, relates to this story because he almost is this dad. He's very depressed and very not like himself, and he just can't get over it. And not to say that you ever get over that kind of thing, but at a certain point, you start to, you know, you don't move on, but you move on. You know what I mean? Like, obviously it still hurts. It's your child, and but you start to be like, okay, they wouldn't want me to be this way. They wouldn't want me to be so depressed and so sad and like hate my life. They would want me to live my life the best way possible and be happy for them, you know? I mean, if I were to die, I would want my mom to be the happiest ever. I know that she wouldn't be, but I would hope that for her because obviously, like, that's just so sad. But Yeah, so I feel like sometimes you don't, I mean, maybe it also takes a lot longer for some people, and then some people it just never really gets any better even as time goes on. And yeah, I mean, everyone heals in different ways and everyone deals with grief in different ways, and you can really not say, you can't say like this is what you can do to help him. Really all you can do is let him process it, and hopefully at some point, because it's only been 10 months. 10 months is very, very fresh. I mean, I still, like, right now, even just talking about my friend, like, 5 years, it's been 5, 6 years now. It still, like, gets me a little choked up, like, makes my throat a little tense. If I were to talk about it in depth, I definitely would probably cry. But for the first, like, 3 years, I was crying and thinking about it probably every other night or every night. Like some weeks I would cry every night about it. And the crazy thing was that I hadn't seen her in 2 years and I still was just like very affected by that, especially I feel like almost more so because I hadn't seen her in so long, and I felt like I just was like, wow, now we can never mend things in a way. Like now we can never, see each other again and be like, oh my God, that was so silly. Like, I'm so glad we're friends again, or I'm so glad we're talking again. And yeah, so 10 months is very fresh. I mean, 10 months is like nothing, especially when you're grieving, and it takes a lot longer than that. And especially as a parent, I was just a friend of this girl. So I can't imagine what it would be like if that were my daughter. That would be 300 times harder, because this is something, your daughter you see, you talk to every day. You birthed this person, or in his case, you made this person, and she was like a part of you. So I don't know. I just think that's really hard. There's not really anything that you can say. There's not anything that you can do to make it better other than just supporting him as much as you can and letting him go through the stages of grief. And then hopefully at some point he realizes that he needs to get therapy and he needs to try to move on. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to say you need to move on, but move forward and start to get better and start to look at things in a different perspective, in a different light, and try to live life again, because you can't just be cooped up drinking every night, angry for the rest of your life, because what's the point in that? So, yeah, let's read some of the comments. Okay. You will never be able to wave a magic wand and make him feel better. His only child has died. This problem is too big for you to solve by yourself. Your husband needs time, a support system, and therapy to deal with the death of his only child. The top comment, this person said, hard thing with therapy is OP's husband being a pilot. The FAA will most likely pull his medical certificate and he won't be able to fly. FAA needs to reevaluate their stance on therapy. Yeah, what? You can't get therapy if you're a pilot? That's crazy. It sounds like he lost his job already from drinking. Having his certificate pulled can't be any worse than that, right? He can eventually get another job without having to spend the time and money to get recertified, so yeah, it can be a lot worse. Okay, thank you. Why would they pull his certificate? An FAA's eyes, going to therapy doesn't meet the standards to have a pilot's medical certificate. I couldn't say why exactly. My bet is, however, is that they have old beliefs about therapy being a bad thing. 100% agree. My cousin dated a guy who lost his only teen son, and she tried her best to be there for him. But he too sunk into a depression and alcohol dependency vicious cycle. It ended with them moving in together, him crying and drinking the moment he got home from work, constant fighting until they separated. He eventually met someone and started a family with that lady, but man oh man, was it rough for them when it was happening. They tried to have a child a little after the son's death, but the wound was just too large to heal in that moment. It really messed her up, though, because she tried so hard to fight for the relationship only for it to end. She still brings it up 10 years later. I wish you the best of luck, but please have him seek help or get comfy being part of that angry, sad cycle. I think after 10 months, OP has the right, as well as the responsibility to herself, her husband, and her marriage, to start demanding that he take action to improve his mental health. Not get over his daughter's death, but start working towards a new normal that includes his tremendous grief along with the rest of his life. Either way, he needs to wake up. A child's death is hard. I've been to a 6-month-old funeral. I get it. But there comes time when you need to work towards continuing to live, or else you'll only die mourning the dead. It's sad. I mean, that's something that's very not the easiest thing to give advice for, because no one has the secret, no one has a secret recipe to getting over grief. And I feel like grief is just one of the hardest things to deal with. And, you just have to deal with it how you deal with it, and then hopefully realize that things need to get better, and it's not going to get better if you just keep continuing a cycle of drinking and fighting and depressive episodes. Next story. I saw my mom sleeping with my uncle when I was little. I don't remember how old I was, but I know I was pretty little, 5 maybe. My dad was out for a day or two because of work, and I woke up late at night because I had to go to the bathroom. At that age, I would always tell my parents I was going to the bathroom if it was past my bedtime, so I peeked into the living room to see if my mom was awake so that I could tell her. Lo and behold, I saw my uncle on top of my mother, and they were having sex. As little as I saw, I knew what was going on, and I was devastated. I didn't tell my mom what I saw, and I didn't tell my dad either. I don't know if my dad ever found out, and I don't know if my mom knows that I saw either. I'm 14 now, almost 15, and my parents are separated, and I have step-parents now, but even after all these years, I'm still incredibly disturbed by what I saw. I remember how heartbroken I was because I thought that they loved each other. Edit, I should probably clarify that I'm talking about the uncle on my dad's side. He's not my blood uncle, but my dad and his brother kind of just adopted him themselves. And also that my uncle was staying with us for a few days, though. I do not remember why. Okay, some people are saying uncle from which side of the family. I feel like that's important, which is probably why they edited that, but whoa, wait, everyone's just saying like your dad's brother, your mom's brother. Mate, there's a chance your uncle is your dad. Have you checked? Oh gosh. That would be a plot twist. Which parent has primary custody of you now? It's been split custody for about 5 years, but I've been living exclusively at my dad's for the past 7 months. I would be so pissed at my mom for what she did. I would tell her in front of her new partner what I saw all these years ago. Give her new partner a chance to understand what his wife is like. She's very nice and overall a good mom and person, and I'm assuming they were both drunk. If I do bring it up, I'm probably going to pull her aside and discuss it with her civilly. Wow, very mature of you. Because this person's not giving very good advice. I mean, definitely wouldn't be the best thing to see. Like, that's definitely very scarring. I went through this when I was 14 years old. I walked in on my mom and my dad's brother having an affair at a holiday party that my parents were hosting. All of the adults were intoxicated. I ran away from home that night and told my dad what I saw the next day. What I said crushed my dad. I've only ever seen him break down twice ever. They went through a nasty divorce and are both happily married now. My mom is married to my uncle, and my dad is happily remarried to my amazing stepmom. I'm 28 now for reference. OP, I'm here if you ever want to chat, but I believe you will benefit greatly from speaking to a licensed professional. Oh my god. That'd be crazy if my mom, my dad doesn't have a brother, but if my mom married my dad's brother, that'd be crazy. Because then it's like, what? My mom goes to family events still and my dad's there. Like, that'd be such a crazy situation. I mean, I'm sure it's happened and it's probably happening right now and somewhere in the world, but that'd be crazy. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know. I feel like definitely probably talking to a therapist would be the best thing to do, especially because when you're 5, that's just not something that you want to see your parents doing. That is just, first of all, disgusting. Like, I don't even care if it was my mom and my dad. I just wouldn't want to see that, period, because that's so gross. Especially when you're 5 and you think that stuff is. When I was 5, I feel like I looked at that as like the biggest no ever. Like, oh my God, that's the worst thing ever. Sex? Ew. So, ew. But there's not really much you can do about that other than if you want to talk to your mom about it and be like, hey, this really upset me. And I I saw this happening, but the fact that she doesn't know is kind of crazy. You just like saw her doing that and she doesn't even know that you saw that happening. And she's probably been, I'm assuming, keeping that secret. I don't know if that's the reason why they got divorced or not, but it doesn't seem like that is a big reason. That was just an off my chest. So I feel like, oh, this one's weird. Not safe for, I always forget what that means. Not safe for what? I don't know. I forget, but let me know because I forget. Okay. The title is My sister is horribly depressed and addicted to corn, and yesterday she came on to me. My relationship with my sister was pretty normal up until about 6 months ago, and we were actually really close. Our mom works a lot and always has, so we were latchkey kids for almost all of our childhood, and we get along like friends. She's the person in my family I'm the closest to. She's always been pretty normal, and I never thought I'd be in a situation like this. It's all really hard to swallow. 6 months ago, she completely fell apart. I'm certain something really traumatic happened to her. My mom has hinted at it, but I figured it's not my right to know if my sister doesn't want me to, so I haven't pressed for specifics. Although I've offered an ear and a shoulder countless times, but she's become like a completely different person. She was always really sociable and outgoing, and now she spends almost 100% of her time locked in her room and has for months. We still talk, and sometimes it almost feels like it used to, and I always make sure she knows that I'm here for her support, but most of the time she just stays locked in. There have been times where I haven't seen her face for a week at a time, despite being right next door to her. She has a couple friends she sometimes talks to online, but I barely even hear her talking to them at all anymore either. This has all been extremely heartbreaking to me, and I feel like a failure as a brother, but I don't know how to help her. I'm also fairly certain she's addicted to corn. On multiple occasions, I have came home and heard corn playing from her room. When this happens, I will make a lot of noise so she knows that I'm home, and almost always it will go quiet, but shortly after, it will start up again. I told her up front once about this that I could hear, and she just looked at me blankly, told me she was sorry and she didn't realize, and she'll be more thoughtful about it, but it still happens. And it didn't seem like she was actually embarrassed by it at all. Sometimes it goes on for hours. The sound doesn't carry to my room, but I can hear from the hallway when I pass by, and there has been different times when I hear it from her room, and when I pass by again 4 or 5 hours later, I still hear it. It's also so completely different to how she used to be that I feel like she can't help it, or maybe just stopped caring about life enough to feel embarrassed about it. She let me borrow her laptop once for school too, and there was like 50 plus different corn tabs open in the browser. I've talked to my mom about it all because I find it really concerning, and my mom just told me it's not my business, and if I can't hear it from my room, I shouldn't be bothered. My mom frankly does not give a shit about any of this, and I think she doesn't really care about either of us much, but whatever, this post isn't about her. Yesterday, she was hanging out in the living room with me, which is a rare sight, and she was being way more talkative than usual, which was great to see. We were even joking around, and it really felt like it used to. She made a sexual joke about blowjobs, which really isn't out of the character for her, so I didn't think anything of it. Then she asked me if I've ever had one, and I just laughed it off and said that that's none of her business. Then she asked if I wanted one, and I told her she was being gross. And then she acted very weird, like nervous and playing with her hands in a way I haven't seen before, and she told me she was serious, and basically just told me to come to her room if I wanted to, and then ran up the stairs. That was the last time I've spoken to or seen her. She's been locked up in her room since then. I have no idea what to do. I'm shocked, but I don't want to traumatize her further. I'm angry that she would compromise our relationship as siblings to even bring something like this up. But mostly I'm just concerned for her, that she's in a headspace where proposing this seemed like an acceptable idea. There has never been any inclination from her that she thought about me in any inappropriate way before. I'm convinced this came about as a result of her current depression and corn addiction. I have been up all night stressing about this. I haven't had a second of sleep. I have no idea what to do. I don't want to hurt her any more than she clearly is already hurting. And I don't know if I should tell my mom. My sister and my mom don't get on that well, and I feel like my sister would see it as betrayal. Plus, I'm not sure if my mom would even care at this point. I've begged her to try to push my sister to get help, and she's just completely dismissive and refuses to see any problems. All my mom cares about is work. Please give me advice on how I can handle this in a way that helps her and how to deal with these upset feelings towards her. There's no one I can talk to in real life about this. I just want my sister back, and it hurts so bad to see her like this. Yikes. I mean, it definitely sounds like she's going through something, and that's really sad. The fact that your mom doesn't care is very messed up because clearly she knows what happened. She knows that something traumatic happened because she's hinted at it to you. So clearly she knows that her daughter needs help and probably someone to talk to, aka a therapist or something of the sort. So that's very concerning. You probably need to talk to your mom more about it and be like, this is serious. And I'm not really sure how old either of them are because he didn't say, but I'm assuming she's under 18, but she could not be because obviously you can live with your parents for longer than that, but you need to be more serious and be like, threaten her. I'd be like, if she's under 18, I'd say to my mom, if you don't do something about this, I'm going to call CPS and tell them that you don't care and you're neglecting your child. I don't know. I don't know what you would tell them, but I would definitely be threatening her and being a lot more serious because this seems like a big issue, especially if she's just locking herself in her room and watching I truly, truly believe that corn affects you so much, especially if you're addicted and you watch it. Because obviously, if you're doing something for that long, you're watching that for hours on end, that's clearly a problem. And regardless of that, I'm not saying that I've never watched it before. I mean, I have, and I never was like, I never felt I didn't watch it that much, so I don't think that it affected me really, but I do think that if you were to compare someone who watches it on a regular basis, every day, even if it's just for 5-10 minutes, every other day, multiple times a week, and then you compare someone who's maybe only watched it a couple times in their life or never watched it, especially I feel like men, because I think that's more common among men, but I think either woman or man, if you would compare the two, I think that you would notice big differences in their brain and the way that their brain works, especially in relation to sex and the way that they view sex and sexual partners and the way that, honestly, their sexual organs work, because I do feel like they work differently. I've been with partners before that have made it made it a routine as to where they watch it every day, mostly maybe 5 days a week, 4 days a week, and that's something that they do. And I truly think that it affected them so much because when they stopped, everything changed, and their what do I want to call it? A penis? Or yeah, a penis. I feel like I usually call it a penis. Like, I'm not gonna call it a dick. Ew. And definitely not the C word because I don't like that word. But um their penis worked better. Like, genuinely, I feel like it was more functional, and I don't want to explain too in depth about it, but you know what I mean. And I truly feel like that changes a lot. And then also, not only that, but if you think about the content of corn and what some of these sites are putting up, like dad and stepdaughter get dirty or what, I don't know, whatever. There's all kinds of content that you can watch that definitely shouldn't be out there because that's crazy to, obviously it's not real. It's not really the dad or the daughter or the brother and sister, Brother and sister corn, ew, disgusting. But like that stuff exists, and that definitely, no one can tell me that doesn't alter their state. So maybe she's seen a one too many of those videos and just thinks that it's normal. Because I can only imagine that if you're watching that for hours on end, I'm watching Vampire Diaries for hours on end, and I feel like vampires are real and that I could possibly be one. So I think that that could probably affect you too. So you could even talk to her about it, but I'm not really sure how receptive she would be right now. Maybe she needs someone to talk to if something traumatic really did happen, like, and she doesn't really want to talk to anyone about it. You could offer to talk to her about it, and then also probably talk to her about the fact that, you know, it's not normal to be offering your brother oral sex. I forgot what it was called for a second. I knew that was oral, but I forgot what it was called. And yeah. Anyways, I'm going to read some of the comments. I don't have any better advice than what's already being listed, therapy, 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 but I wanted to add that you're an incredible, thoughtful, caring, and insightful young man. I'm sorry for the situation you're in. It seems like you're the only one in the family with their head on straight. You both deserve a better parental figure. You might want to seek it in the future as well. I would be pretty traumatized if my sibling even insinuated such a thing towards me, especially at a grown age. Sorry you both had to go through shit. I second this 10,000%. Please, please, please take care of yourself as well, OP. Your sister was probably sexually assaulted. She needs therapy, not just big brother talk therapy. She needs real therapy. Her behavior is not normal. She's older than me, 18 and 17, so not her big brother, but I agree with you. I've suggested therapy many times, and she's in denial that anything is even wrong, and our mom is no help at all. She thinks this isn't worth worrying about, which just emboldens my sister to think the same. I guess I will just keep trying. I've heard many anecdotes from women about how when they were assaulted as teens, their mothers minimized the experience and silenced them the way that they were when they were young, probably. Also, I have no idea about your home life, but a seemingly single woman with 2 children at home who spends most of her time at work usually does that because she loves her children. Perhaps overwork/stress may be causing her to see your and your sister's feelings and personal issues as unimportant when compared to more tangible things like making rent, utilities, etc. Parents are just people, and I'm sorry your mother isn't there for you guys, but people are people. They get overwhelmed, distracted, or self-concerned all too easily. I would guess that their attitude has more to do with stress rather than not caring for you guys. I hope you can work all of this out and your sister can work through this safely. That's true, because you always think your parents know everything, but then you think about how this is also their first time living as well. You know, this is their first time doing this, although they've had more time on earth than you. This is also their first time, and they're going to make mistakes as they get older and probably keep making mistakes until they die, because that's just what people do. But hopefully this isn't like a normal thing, and she's been, because obviously you can say that and you can say that parents are also people, but to a certain degree, I agree with that, because if it's happening and there's times where she's very stressed and she's overwhelmed and she's kind of acting like she doesn't care because she's more consumed with the fact that she needs to pay these bills and she has to work these amount of hours and all of that. But then it gets to a point where it's like, if that's how she's always been, then that's a problem, and she probably shouldn't have been a mom in the first place, because you definitely can only use that excuse for so long. At some point, you need to act like a parent, whether that means sacrificing your own mental health. Because although I don't think that you should have to do that, it's sometimes just you have to at some points especially if your kids are going through something this serious. You're the mother and you decided to have these children and raise these children. So you're responsible for them. And I just feel like at a certain point you can't use that excuse, but I also don't know the extent to which she's been like dealing with that. So we never really know. You never know. That is what I have to say about it, and sometimes you just have to take responsibility. I can't really talk much because I'm not a mom, but that is what I would want my mom to do for me, and that is what I would try to do for my children. Because I'm sure there's going to be times where I'm like so stressed and it's like, ugh, get away to me. I don't care. I need to focus on this because I got to make this. I got to meet this requirement. I got to pay this bill. I got to blah, blah, blah. But obviously, you don't always want to be like that because you're not a good parent then. Well, that's going to be the end of this episode. And I hope you guys enjoyed. If you enjoyed or you have any thoughts about any of the stories that we read that you want to share, or opinions, or I don't even know, what's another thing that you can have, or you just want to say anything at all, leave it in the comments below. And I hope that you have the best day ever. And you're the best. Thanks for watching this. I love you guys so much. I'll see you in the next episode of Storytime Society.